This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon and welcome to this live broadcast from South Africa. It is a very, very beautiful afternoon, and as you can see, we have a very special animal to show all of you, which is going to be wonderful. Now, it is a warm welcome to the two schools that have joined us this afternoon. So, entries from Virginia, I'm glad that you have joined us this afternoon. I hope that you'll have the most wonderful time as we explore the wilds of Africa. My name is Tristan, and on camera I've got Sebastian. There we go, there's Sebastian's hand, so say hello to all of you. And we hope that you're going to have fun, and not only have fun, but ask us lots and lots of questions. And you do that by just asking your teachers, and your teachers will send the questions through to us. Now, I was saying that we have a giraffe, so it's just the one giraffe. It's a little boy giraffe that's sitting over the boy, because if we look on top of his head, you see he's got two things that are sticking up that almost look a little bit like antlers. Those are not, we don't call those antlers. They've got a bit of a different name because that's actually bone, like your arm or your finger, and it's growing off the top of his head. And the thing with a male is that it's very thick. You can see he's got a thick set, and they actually don't have hair on top. If it was a female, they'd be a little bit thinner with lots and lots of hair that would sprout off the top, and that would be how you'd be able to tell a boy from a girl. It's very, very easy that way. Giraffe give you a good idea of which one is which. Yanni, giraffes are tall for the simple reason that they can get food that nobody else can get. So being a tall animal out here, means that they reduce competition. And so in the wilds of Africa, there's a lot of different types of animals. And if you have a lot of animals that are all the same height that feed off the leaves of trees, then it's going to be very difficult for everyone to find food. So a giraffe has now evolved into being a much taller animal that it's able to then get to parts of trees that something like, let's say, an impala or can't get to, and it makes it a much easier way of them finding food. So to be nice and tall like that helps with that. It also helps to be able to see predators. So being very tall means that they can see quite far over the tops of trees, and it's easy for them to spot things like lions and leopards out here in the savannas. So it's a good thing to be tall. Suntas, giraffes eat leaves. That's what they really like, and they're very, very particular eaters. So they like certain types of things. They always try and find the best possible leaves of nutrition. The problem with that is that those trees generally have lots of thorns on them. Trees that have good tasty leaves have developed thorns to try and protect them, but the giraffe is able to deal with that because he's got a very funny tongue. His tongue is very long. It's over 30 centimeters long, so almost as long as my forearm, and he's able to then to push that out and wrap it around the branches and pull all the little leaflets off. The thing is, though, is that even though he wraps his tongue, it would be cut. I don't know if you've ever put your tongue on something sharp, might get cut. And so what they've got is they've got little kind of growths, it almost looks like little rubbery growths that lack nerve endings and blood vessels. And so the giraffe can then wrap it around, feed off those leaves, and they don't have to actually worry about being cut or bleeding or being very sore, and they can then actually get to those little leaflets. So they really like small leaves that are protected by thorns. That's their favorite, and they'll go feeding off all kinds of different types of leaves. That's what they eat the most. Sometimes you'll find them eating a fruit. If once we get into the summer months, now we're just in the end of our winter, it's going to start going into summer, and everything's going to start getting a lot more green, and we're going to get a lot of fruits growing. Then you might find them eating some fruits, but most of their diet is plant material. Right, now our giraffe is busy disappearing down into a thicket, and so we're going to carry on in the afternoon and see what else we can find. In the meantime, though, let's send you across to my friend David, all the way in the Masai Mara, and he's got a wild toothy animal to show all of you.
Hello, boys and girls from Mountain View School and the Tall Wood School, and welcome to our drive. And we are a different country from where you are. With my friend Tristan, we're in Kenya, a different country in East Africa, and we're in a game reserve called Masai Mara, or the Mara Triangle. How lucky you saw a giraffe with Tristan, but here animals altogether that are called wildebeest, and you can see how they're running, and that tells you they're very fast animals, and they always have to run for their lives. There. So very many of them, and all those are wildebeest. Jordan, I'm very happy to hear your question. And why do people go on safari? People will go on safari, Jordan, because they will need what we are watching right now, to see the giraffe like what you saw with Tristan, to see the wildebeest like what we are showing you now. And Jordan, before I continue, boys and girls, my name is Ted. The camera with me is a gentleman called Manu. When Manu does that, that means good things gonna happen, or good things he shall be showing you on camera. Question, thank you very much, as a turnaround, because that's the only one thing I request you boys and girls to do, to keep us as you can. But boys and girls, we got a surprise for you there. Just look in the midst of that grass and tell me, what do you see there? Yay! We got from the country, come from Kenya. For any one of you who saw the movie Lion King, I'm sure you can remember you saw lots of lions, and we call them. But also, those two are not alone. We got three more to the left. And they're having, I would say, their late lunch, because it's about 4:30 East African time. But, you know, lions have to leave, and for that reason, they have to get some food for themselves. Now, lions are cats. Lions are cats, and because they are cats, we call them carnivores. And because they are carnivores, they eat meat. So they have to hunt food for themselves, and this particular group of 5 lions got food for themselves. A wildebeest. Can you see how that one is panting or breathing? It is because it's a bit hot now. It's about 81 degrees or 27 degrees Celsius. I do not know what's the temperature back where you are in school, and I'm sure, as Tristan told you, when you give us questions or when you send us comments, you'll do that through your teachers. So through your teachers, boys and girls, let me know at the moment. As I said earlier, here in Kenya, in East Africa, is about 81 degrees Fahrenheit or 27 degrees centigrade. So a group of, call it a pride of lions. Yes, I just got that bit. Sorry, Nikki. Michael, what's the question for Michael? Sorry. Michael, you'll notice in Virginia you're in America, and where we are now, we are in Kenya, and this part that is called the Mara Triangle, it is south of the equator. And I'm sure, Michael, you or have shown you the map of the world, and in America you're in what we call the northern hemisphere. So where we are in Kenya, we are, and for that reason we have different weather patterns. In Virginia or in America, where you got 4 different seasons, in Kenya it's like we basically got just one weather pattern. We have like summer all around the year, but that by 2 rainfall seasons, long rains and short rains. So that's the difference between the weather here and where you come from. So we are now waiting for the short rains to come, and if Manu is going to show you in the background, you can see how they, I'm sure boys and girls, you can see the clouds of Africa there. It means we're expecting some rains to come, and there's one particular area we can see some rain. So we'll now take you again to one girl who would like to say hello to you, who is near a water body.
I am indeed near water, and just behind those trees we find here in Africa an African hardy-dar. Sorry, I went to say Africans, which is the cousins, but and you normally see them in water, but they're not. We call them hardy-dars because of the sound they make. My name is Taylor, and and the sun is very bright, so I'm going to have to squint at you like this. VM is now shading it with his one hand. How incredible. Filming with one arm. Cool. We'll ask your teachers lots of questions, and I look forward to answering them. Shall we look at all the antelope? Have a drink. So not just birds at Buffelshoek Dam. So we're also in South Africa, like Tristan, who you met earlier. And this is one of the very few watering holes around here. Now, Chloe and Ella, you've asked why, how do the animals get so hot? Well, some of them will just stand in the shade. They'll come down and drink water, like these impala and waterbuck are the fluffy ones, and the impala are the other kind, the ones that are sort of like a chestnut color, and it will help keep them cool. And some animals like to wallow around in the water, so some animals actually cover themselves with mud or go for a do that. Rhinos, buffaloes, hippos, warthogs, and some animals will pant to keep nice and cool. So there's lots and lots of different ways for them to cool themselves down. You see the waterbuck, they'll go right into the water. And both impala and waterbuck need to drink every single day. On a really, really hot day, sometimes you'll even think, look at her, she's gulping down that water. Now, she doesn't look like she's any crocodiles, but I don't think there are any crocodiles in this watering hole, so she should be okay. Now, Hunter, this is quite a difficult question to answer because there are lots of different types of antelope, as we've seen two of them. We've got the impala and the waterbuck, and not all male and female have horns. Sometimes it's actually just the boys that have horns, like it is with the impala. So the impala we're seeing here are all boys. The waterbuck that we're seeing are girls. So the girl waterbuck don't have any horns, but the male waterbuck do. So what type of antelope you're looking at? They all get different size shaped horns and length of horns. The waterbuck horns curve forward. They're very much longer than those of the impala. And then you get kudu, who've got spikes. Get really, really, really long to also over about 3 feet in length. Maybe a bit longer than that. Depends. And then there's really small ones like duiker and steenbok, which are tiny little antelope, and they've got very sharp little, nothing like the impala has. So it kind of just depends. They're not hanging around at the watering hole too. They're all going away now. Aradia, no, we don't see any of South Africa. We don't even see any deer where David is in Kenya. So, yeah, I don't know. I have seen a fellow deer, but they don't occur here in South Africa naturally. But they can. There's some antelope, though, like a bushbuck that looks like a deer. It kind of reminds you of Bambi when you see them. It's like about them. And you can see all these boys will probably move off and then they'll go look. There isn't much food around this watering hole anymore. So what you normally see is at this time, just coming out of winter, we're in spring now, all the animals have to travel quite far to find food. Food and grass and trees around watering holes, it's the first to go. It's the first to disappear. He likes to hang around the watering holes. It's a very popular spot. It's like when you try to go to the you know how hard it is. Unless you get there very early, you might not get a nice spot with an umbrella. You might else. So they all try and get here as early as they can. You can see they're looking around. There's no lions or leopards or cheetah or hyenas or anything. Wait, because the predators, they know that if they hang around water, the food will just evaporate. So they need to be quite careful and have their. They'll often stop and listen. They'll look around. Be walking in some circles Just trying to see what else there is here. What have you got there, Bim? Oh, look at that. It's a bunting. That's a very, very pretty bird. I think it's pink. You get another one that's called a cinnamon-breasted bunting. That's so stunning, don't you think? Look at that. Madison, there's lots and lots of birds in South Africa, but I think we see about Tory birds, so the birds that should be coming now. Some of them fly from overseas, from the northern parts of Africa, and they come and visit us because we're going into spring, and so eventually there'll be lots of food for them to eat. See, these two birds, lapwing and the three-banded plover, just live here all the time. They don't go anywhere. So we can see about now roughly in this area maybe between 300 and 350 different types of birds. It's a very big area. Now it depends on where you go that you'll see different types. Some people like to live on the beach, some like to live in forests, others like to live in deserts. The same thing goes for the birds. They have their favorite places. Now it seems as though there's lots and lots of animals around today, and to see very often is the zebra.
Well, we don't, you're right, Taylor. So down here in South Africa, we don't see zebras all that much at all. The terrain here is not ideal for them. Zebras like big open spaces. Mara, where David is, and well, David will see lots and lots of zebras on his side, but here in South Africa, we only see them every now and then, and in the thousands and thousands like David does see. But we've managed to catch up with a few zebras. There's only 3 that I can see at the moment. Beautiful one over there, and then 2 just to the left of it. And the reason why like too many of them is because it's really not the right place for zebras. Zebras know that in areas like it's very dangerous for them. There's lions out here and hyenas, and they can run in these areas in the thickets and the grass, and it makes it easy for them to be out in a little bit more open where they can see what's going on. Also, they like the open clearings, generally have better food than these thickets for. Ooh. So Kevin have some sort of camouflage already built in. They can't really camouflage, so to speak, of the big animals. Things like leopards, even these zebras to a degree, their patterns and their marks are there to try and camouflage or to try and blend in with their environment. Other animals, though, small animals that will use camouflage, so things like a chameleon. A chameleon will change its color, blend in better, so it uses cells in its body to work out through its vision what color it needs to be to that color. So it will go brown, or it will be green, and those color. Then you'll get other animals like some snakes that will have broken patterns and curl up in something where there's a bit of leaflet, a bit of kind of grass on the ground. Camouflage really, really well. The zebra, even though it looks like it doesn't bright and colorful for us out in this open, like they're not difficult to see, their stripes serve a bit of a different purpose. A zebra is quite easy for us to see. The stripes are there to act, so not so much camouflage, but more to kind of describe. And basically what happens with these guys is when they come together and they'll form a tight little bunch, and so all of them push together, and then those stripes melt into one another, and it becomes very difficult for zebras together to actually see one from another. And normally with predators, they will single out a zebra that they want to try and chase, and then when they start to chase, all of a sudden the zebras are all together a little bit, and that can sometimes mean the difference for the zebra to get away. So even though camouflage that all animals try and use to stay hidden, well, most animals, sometimes there's for the patterns and colors that we see on these animals. The other thing with zebras, you must remember that also don't see in color like we do. We are very fortunate to pick up all kinds of different colors. When you predator, it's kind of a gray muted color, and so that blend into the trees and the thickets a little bit. And if these zebras had to go maybe another yards away from us, we probably would hardly see in quite well. So they kind of have a effect to their striping pattern, which I mean, camouflage to a degree, but actually to helps them to stay hidden. But there's many animals really excellent camouflage, and in fact we can find a female leopard in this area around, and we had tracks for probably camouflage is better than any of them. They have rosetted coats, and it there are lots of endangered animals. Unfortunately, endangered animals, they generally only big ones, so people will think of things or wild dogs or those where other animals are out there. But I believe that we have a little with our text, so we're going to go on to we will be back with you fairly shortly, so question in just a little bit.